Hi everyone. So a lot of times I'm asked if you can go back and do it all over again, what do you know now that you wish you would have known then? And I'm going to talk about 5 things in particular that I wish I knew before getting into the real estate business. So the first thing I wish I knew before getting into the business was how to generate business on my own. Now, the people in this business that do well and that have longevity in this career are going to be people who know how to properly prospect. Now, as a new agent getting into this business, I thought, you know what, I've got enough friends, I have enough people in my sphere that I can rely on them to continually support me or feed me with referrals in real estate business. Only problem is you have to remember they have lives, they have jobs, they have other things that they have to do on a regular basis, and they're not thinking about you, your business, your career, and how to feed you and keep you sustained with new business. So coming in, I wish I would have known how to properly prospect. That's knocking on doors, holding open houses, picking up the phone, talking to complete strangers, buyers, sellers, for sale by owners, expireds. If I had embraced this when I first got in the business and I embraced the whole script and knowing what to say and how to say it and taking it and really bringing it into my whole being and remembering everything about how to talk to people, how to lead them to a yes, and how to ask for the business enough times so we can get to the yes is huge. A lot of times when you're in the business, you'll ask somebody, hey, I'd like to help you with the sale of your home, or I'd like to help purchase your first home, whatever it might be. And usually if they say, well, I'm not ready yet, or I'm not really looking to do that yet, or they just flat out say no, a lot of agents will stop right there and they won't go in and ask again and again and again. And usually in this business, it's about 7 times before you actually get somebody to agree or say yes to allowing you help them with their home purchase or the sale of their home. So that would be the big one. Prospecting, scripting, and relentlessly picking up the phone and talking to everybody and asking them for their business over and over and over and over again. Now, the other thing that I wish I would have known was how to deal with other agents, real estate agents, other brokers. In this business, you feel very apprehensive or timid dealing with another experienced agent. And a lot of times there's one alpha agent that usually takes over in a transaction. It's either going to be the listing agent or the buyer's agent, just depending on how much experience they have or how much knowledge of the contract they have. Now, what I found was the more information that you had at hand on how the real estate business works, and whoever knew the contract better than the next person can really determine how this whole transaction was going to take place and who took point. So getting in the business, I strongly recommend you know your contract. It's your number one weapon you utilize every day in this business. And when it comes to negotiations, it's huge. So my thing is know your contract very well. And if you do, you can easily step toe-to-toe with any experienced agents or anybody else who's going to try to take advantage of you in a system or the process of a sale, when they'll just suggest to you, oh, you know what, why don't you or your buyer take care of that? Or, you know what, my seller's not going to do that. You guys go ahead and take care of that. You'll at least know, well, the contract specifically says that that's a seller's responsibility, so my buyer won't be taking care of that. Just little things like that are pretty huge. So the better you know your contract, the more that you can have confidence in what you do and step toe-to-toe with experienced agents in the business. Another thing, number 3, another thing that you want to remember, or I wish I would have known better, is when it comes down to inspections. A lot of times as a new agent getting in the business, your buyer puts in a contract, and once your contract is accepted, there's usually an inspection period. Now in this inspection period, it's going to make a huge difference on whether or not the contract survives or the contract dies. In this inspection period, we'll usually hire an inspector. Now, me, the agent, I don't hire the inspector. This is entirely up to the buyer to choose their inspector and pay for their inspector. And in most cases, it's better if you're not at the inspection at all. This is an independent inspector that's being paid directly from the buyer. We don't have a choice in picking who it's going to be. We don't pay them because we want zero liability. So in these cases, it's going to be in your best interest to pass that responsibility along to the buyer and their inspector. And when the inspection is done, You also want to make sure that the buyer can meet with the inspector so the buyer can specifically and directly ask them any questions that they may have about the inspection. And it's not going to fall on you as far as, well, the inspector told you that this might be an issue, or didn't the inspector mention this to you, the agent? I don't want to have anything to do with that, so I stay out of it entirely. Now, another thing that I wish I had known before getting into the business was that there's a building inspector and their job is only to inspect the house itself. I didn't realize starting out that if you're working with a buyer and they need a clear WDO, which is a wood destroying organism report, that's for termite or wood rot or anything like that, that usually you have to hire a separate specialist to come in and do an inspection like that, which, if you don't know getting into it, it could kind of hold up the process, or the lender might come back and say it's required and we need it, and usually you'll have to get somebody out there and it just becomes a whole hassle. So in most cases, when you hire an inspector, you want to make sure that the inspector not only does the building inspection, but they're also qualified or certified to do a clear WDO inspection. Now, another thing with the inspection is you want to remember, the older the home, there's certain things that you want to look out for. So if you're looking at a home that your buyer is purchasing and it's an old home, usually it'll have to pass a 4-point inspection. That's going to be the roof, the plumbing, the electrical, and of course the HVAC, AC. Now, if any of these items have not been updated recently, usually they're either going to have to show that there's been updates, or it's going to have to pass a rigorous inspection in order to qualify for insurance purposes. And a lot of times these older homes, they have old electrical, or they have plumbing that has never been updated, and it may actually prevent your buyer from purchasing the home or being able to qualify for financing because their homeowner's insurance rate is so high that it throws off all the ratios. So there you have it. Inspection, that's another huge part of the transaction that I wish I had known before getting into the business. So let's talk about how home warranty can either break or save the deal. Now, I used to think that home warranties were just an extra add-on, a waste of money, nothing that really brought value to a transaction. Now I see a home warranty as a savior for a transaction a lot of times. So for instance, a home warranty may cost anywhere from $450, $500 on average. And usually what it is, it's a 1-year home warranty protection plan that will protect the home for the first year that the buyer lives in the property. So if the AC stops working, they'll come fix or replace it, no charge to the customer. So if the plumbing goes out, they'll actually come in and they'll fix or replace it. If the appliances, the refrigerator, the stove, dishwasher, anything like that stops working, they'll come out, they'll fix or replace it. It's a great program, and typically this will give the buyer a peace of mind when purchasing a home, that for the whole first year, if anything goes broken or stops working, home warranty company will come out, fix or replace it at no charge to the customer. They just pay a small trade call fee of like $50. Now, the way that I've learned to use this is in situations where I'm negotiating with the seller to make necessary repairs for my buyer after the inspection has been done. A lot of times sellers are saying, listen, I'm selling the home as is. I really don't want to have to get involved with fixing things. And you know what? The AC works perfectly fine. It's still blowing out cold air. But a lot of times the home inspector may put something on the inspection report that says the AC unit has reached the end of its useful life expectancy. Same with the hot water heater. Now, usually, even though it works perfectly fine, and it's blowing out cold air and it's producing hot water, it's not going to require the seller to actually replace it, even though it might conk out next month or a year from now. But what I've done is I've actually negotiated that the seller provide a home warranty to my customer that will protect that customer the first year they move into the home, to give them the peace of the mind that if any of these items stop working, that it'll be fixed or replaced anyway. So a lot of times, this prevents the buyer and seller from getting into a little bit of conflict over whether or not they're going to update or replace some of these appliances. All right, one of the other things that I wish I had known before getting into the business are the different types of buyers that are out in the market. I always just assumed that a homeowner was a homeowner, and either they were trying to sell their home or they were trying to make a purchase to live in a home. Now, there are a lot of other purchasers, like there's investors that purchase a home, they fix it up, they flip it. We also have investors that will purchase a home, fix it up, and rent it out and hold it out long term to create wealth and passive income through renting out their properties. And we also have commercial properties. You have business brokerage where people will purchase businesses but not the real estate itself. there's so many different ways to go about it. So there you have it, guys. If you like what you had to hear, please subscribe to our channel or comment below. Until then, sell, sell, sell. I'll see you next time.